My 2011 season, to say the least, was disappointing. I started off scouting and doing all the preseason stuff that you're supposed to do properly. But my wife and I, we decided that we were going to take on a big adventure this past season and build a house. So we were actually the contractors on the project. So I knew my time was going to be really limited in the field. Hunting on a small time frame is not a good idea. I actually did get a chance to shoot at a few bucks. I did have one come in picture perfect. In our scouting, we were able to locate this perfect tree with this run that came across from my right to my left. And it's actually this patch of land was in this little field opening surrounded by two sides of crops. On this one particular hunt, I was sitting there in the stand and I wasn't seeing too much action, and all of a sudden to my right this little small buck appeared from the corner. It actually started moseying its way down from my right to my left, but it was probably at least 60 to 65 yards away, and this I would say would be probably late October, early November. Well, I did everything I could to try to grunt the buck in, but what I thought was real peculiar was that when I was grunting to the buck, it wanted nothing to do with me. It didn't look up, didn't stop. It actually had a path, and it was just heading on it, and it was not even worrying about whatever it heard. I thought that was really odd. I was grunting. I did everything probably times 100 that you weren't even supposed to do, but in my head I wasn't gonna really take a shot anyway, so I just was trying to learn from the experience and try to see what I could do and see how the deer would react to what I was doing. So this deer proceeded to stop probably about 50 yards in front of me. Didn't even look my way. It actually looked toward the area it came from, and then it proceeded to keep going across from me, but it ended up getting further and further away where it went into this field, and then I lost it. I was bleating, I was grunting, I was doing everything I could just to, like I said, just to learn from the experience and see what would happen. All of a sudden, out of nowhere, I look over to my right, and this big, huge buck comes walking out. And realistically, it was probably the biggest deer I've ever seen sitting in a stand. And now I understand why that little buck wanted nothing to do with me. So I got myself prepared, and I looked over to my right, and I seen the run that I was hoping that it was going to come down. And all of a sudden, here comes this buck. It starts stepping out, and it starts into a small, medium trot down the same path that I was hoping that the deer would come. One thing I did do, I was, obviously buck fever hit. My heart starts pumping, trying to calm myself down. I get myself positioned properly. I drew back. Everything was perfect, but this deer was still on the move. Then it started slowing down and came to a point to where I felt comfortable where I was going to possibly be able to make the shot. And I had a decision in my head, and I consciously made this decision. It was make a noise to try to get it to stop, or do I just try to take a shot while it's on a small trot? I make this decision to not make a noise, and I drew back, took a deep breath. Everything seemed like it was all right on the money. I released, and the arrow shot behind it. The deer knew nothing of what happened. It heard the noise of the arrow hitting the floor. It took off, ran back to where it came from, stopped, looked around a little bit, and then just walked back into the woods. I blew it. The little opportunity I had this past season, and the biggest deer that I've ever seen walks in front of me, and all I have to do is make a noise. All I gotta do is say, hey, sir, whatever, right? It would stop. Grunt, probably 10 times out of 10 it would stop. But in my head, I made a decision not to make the noise. This 2012 season, doing a lot of more practice shooting. I do want to get I have 2 girls. I have a little bow for them. We go out in the backyard and we shoot. And that's important to me to try to bond with my girls and get them into hunting. And try to get them into shooting and enjoying the sport. So that's one of my goals this year, try to practice a lot more, put a lot more holes in those targets, and feel comfortable when that deer comes, not even thinking about the bow. Another goal for me this year is focus. I want to really focus more on making the right decisions out in the field, whether to take a shot, whether not to take a shot. There's so many different scenarios you play in your head, what a deer might do, what it might not do. I should have waited, I shouldn't have not waited. My goal is to try to make the right decisions this season and come home with a buck this year for sure. So this year I want to wish everyone good luck for the 2012 season. Hopefully everyone gets that big buck they're shooting for. And remember to take time and just enjoy being out there. That's what it's all about.